what is AuctionCast? Bo, can you kind of give us a 30,000-foot view of what AuctionCast is exactly?
Absolutely, Tyler. AuctionCast is really a necessity. I've been in land auction business for 20 years, and I looked at the things that we had done right, but the things that we could do better. And I seen as a whole that we could inform better, but that would take a team. So instead of just one broker or auctioneer working on a land auction at a time, we came up with the AuctionCast concept of where we assembled your land brokers, your auctioneers. We brought in paneled experts in agronomy, financial, recreational, 1031 exchange experts, things like that. And of course, that includes things that people don't see behind the scenes too, like video production, graphic design, all these other wonderful things that tech allows us to utilize. And really, at the end of the day, we provide a more informative process for all of the buyers out there and for our sellers that yields more money for their farms.
Absolutely.
Yes.
No, I can see where you thought this was going to be such a wonderful idea because it is bringing so much more information to the market that we know is sorely lacking in a lot of the current auction landscape today.
Yes, absolutely.
So let's start with the AuctionCast process. So, Bo, why don't you explain a little bit about the land market update and why you feel like that is an informative thing that a lot of these current buyers maybe need to know in today's market?
When we looked at AuctionCast and what it could be, one of the first things we thought of was informing on what the land market is, because we get calls all the time, what maybe a farm will bring, what's the market doing, and and a lot of folks just don't have the time or the resources to stay up to date on that. So what we do is we utilize everything in our network abroad to assemble a more broader national look at what the land market is doing. We drill it down to the state level. And then for that property that day, we really try to get very, very local. So they have all that information to see what's happening abroad. And all those farm sales are usually fairly recent, from the day before all the way up to maybe a week or two before. So we thought that was very important so people could make good informed decisions when selling and buying.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so that way these buyers can understand exactly where the current market is, and so that way they know that if they're at the top of the market, bottom of the market. I mean, because we get calls all the time from from different buyers and everything else who are always calling and asking hey what's kind of happening in the market right now. They're trying to get a feel for, hey, do I want to be an investor? Do I want to kind of sit in the sidelines? A lot of those people are always constantly asking those types of questions, and so that's where I feel like that land market update is such an important tool, is because we're telling everybody out there, we're telling people who are already calling us, hey, this is where the market's still going. It's still going up. It's flatlining. It may be going down, but we're informing those people based upon those auctions that have currently happened, in today's market. So next in the process of AuctionCast, we try to talk about the subject farm, the farm that we're auctioning off that day, and sometimes we even talk about the history a little bit as well. Why is that you feel that's an important process? Obviously people need to be informed about the farm, but what is it that about that AuctionCast maybe does different as far as getting the information out about that subject farm?
Right. Good point, Tyler. Probably the most important part of AuctionCast. We spend a lot of time on the detail of the farm. We get into the fertility, we get into the yields, we get into the production. We actually break that production down into financial aspects of that farm. How much is this thing going to return to me annually? How much is this thing going to return to me in 10 years? And then we can employ an agronomy expert to really help buyers get comfortable with risk. We need to talk about the soils. We need to talk about the drainage. We need to talk about the fertility. We need to break that down and make sure that buyers understand that farm, because they're not all created equal. Obviously.
Absolutely.
So they need to be comfortable understanding that farm, and we need to present that.
Absolutely. So Brian brought up some good points there. I mean, so he, as far as now we're getting into some of our panel experts that we bring in. I'm one of the main hosts of AuctionCast, and I've always got panel experts, like that are sitting on the side of me here. Why is it you feel that's important that these panel experts come on there, and why is that important to AuctionCast and to our buyers and sellers?
Well, to be straight up, is that I felt that even though land brokers and as auctioneers, we're very good at what we do, we don't know everything, right? Yeah. So when you get an agronomy expert, or you get someone in a specific field that really understands it, they know that, right? And they can inform the buyers better. And that's why we make them part of our team. That's why the team aspect of it is so important. So like Brian was stating, it's all information. And the more that we can gather, buyers are happy, The sellers appreciate it because I believe it brings more money.
Yeah.
And so, I just think it's wonderful. And another part of our process I love is the history of the farm. When we're selling, a farm is just not another number. It's not just another farm. Brian had said once, you get to sell the farm one time, right? So we need to do that correctly.
I hold this a little closer to my heart probably than some, but I think we all can share in pride of ownership. I'm a 6th generation farm kid. My family homesteaded our farm in 1866, and our abstract has never left our family.
Wow, that's incredible.
I revel in that, and a lot of other folks also do. Whether it's the first generation that you're buying a farm and you're thinking about your children and you want to spend time out there, those things are important. They add value and they make it personal. It's important to make these farms personal because it's a very important decision, not only to sell it, get the right people to do it, but again, we're informing these buyers and they need to understand that this farm is part of them. It's personal.
Might be the only time that farm ever sells,
Oh.
and that anybody sitting in this entire room or bidding might ever see in their entire lifetimes.
Well, last week, Tyler, you sold a farm. You were hosting the farm that sold that had been in the family for 3 generations.
Yeah.
Over and over again, we hear about this. Now, some might feel like that's fluffy, but that's important.
Yeah. No,
And if it's important, we're going to tell everybody about
Absolutely.
it. We're going to tell you.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So let's talk about the auction process. Why is that important with AuctionCast?
When we look at traditional auctions, everyone loves the live part of it, the excitement of it, the auctioneer. So we didn't want to go away from that. What we wanted to do was add to that. So we're creating a virtual bidding experience with a live in-studio auctioneer that is seasoned, that can still, create the excitement. Then we bring in the expert panel, and then we pair that together with all the information, and that really is what AuctionCast is.
All right, so breaks with AuctionCast. Bo, why is that important? Why is that important within AuctionCast?
Yeah, Tyler, we've always had auction breaks. That's where we take some time. We give the buyers some time to calculate. Of course, this day and age, make a phone call, send a text. Talk to whomever they're going to maybe buying it with, because it's a big decision, right? But now with AuctionCast, we get to do so much more because, as you know, being a major part of our commentary panel here, you guys get to sit down every auction multiple times a day and break the farms down, give recaps, and again, inform. So why don't you tell me a little bit about what what your role is during the breaks?
Absolutely, Bo. The thing that I love about breaks on this, being one of the main hosts, is that I'm able to dig into the weeds with the experts that I have on each side of me. I can pull out more information out of these guys here to better add value to the buyers out there. So maybe there's maybe some information out of there that makes them want to bid an extra $100 or $200 more an acre because of the added information that we have out of this.
It's real-time information right to the buyer.
Yeah, it is. And also, I might add, it's an opportunity to answer questions for the buyers and the clients too, because they can direct message us, and either privately we can address those, but sometimes they're great questions can add value to the sale that day.
The auction process needs to allow time for everybody to make good, informed decisions, and we need to allow as much time as possible. So
yes, and that's why breaks are key. We've been doing them for
Yep.
ever since way before I ever started in the auction business.
Right.
Within the process of AuctionCast, when we get to the end, the farm is sold. We like to go and we like to recap that. Why is that important there with AuctionCast there, Bo?
Well, because after every auction, Tyler, that I've ever had, a whole pile of people always call and, what did it bring? What did it bring?
Probably your next buyer.
And then they want to talk numbers. So, via this process, of course, they can view it, but also we sit there at the end of it and we crunch all the numbers for them. We'll give them dollars per tillable acre, answer any other questions that we've been, direct messaged or anything like that. But our expert panel will really sit down, recap it for them in a way that they can understand it, which I think is very, very key. And they will have all that information that they can, better think about the property that they own, something they're going to buy, something they're going to sell. So we recap every sale with our expert panel. So they're informed.
Well,
that's the mainstay through all this is inform. It
is. It's a good point. It keeps us all at the level, so we're all in real time and know what the market's doing. We have to be in tune with the market, and we want to provide that information to all of our buyers and sellers. They need to know, as we need to know, where the market is,
Mhm.
what it was today, and where it might be going.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hence
Yes.
the recap.
Absolutely. And then after that, of course, we talk about upcoming sales. But, when we look at the whole thing from, like Tyler said at the beginning, a 30,000 foot level, AuctionCast is there to inform, and it's got a wonderful process to do that. We incorporate traditional, exciting auction elements with much needed, updates, information, people, process to bring everyone AuctionCast.